You think editing a video takes hours because of the footage. It doesn't. The footage isn't the problem. The timeline is. Every professional editor we talked to this year said the same thing. They spend less than 20% of their edit time on creative decisions. The other 80% is mechanical. Dragging clips, trimming silence, cutting filler words, reformatting for different platforms. And here's what most people miss. AI doesn't make you a faster editor on a timeline. It makes the timeline optional. We tested this on a real client project, a 45-minute recorded interview that had to become 3 deliverables, a 10-minute YouTube cut, a 90-second social clip, and a 5-minute highlights reel for a client presentation. Normally, that's a full day of work. We ran it through a 4-step AI workflow, and we're going to show you every step, including where the AI made mistakes, and we had to fix it. People corrigera takes the steps. Here's why this matters right now. 2 things changed in the last 2 years that make this workflow possible in a way it wasn't before. First, transcript accuracy from AI is now good enough to edit by. We're talking about 97 to 98% word-level accuracy on clear audio. That's not a marketing claim. It's Second, AI scene selection models have been trained on enough human edits that they can now identify emotionally relevant moments with a hit rate that would have seemed impossible 3 years ago. Those 2 things together are what unlock a workflow with no traditional timeline. The tools that existed before this just weren't there yet. Your classic nonlinear editor, whether that's Premiere, Final Cut, or DaVinci Resolve, is built around the timeline as the central object. Everything feeds into it. AI has been bolted onto those platforms as add-ons, but the workflow is still fundamentally timeline first. What we're describing today flips that. The transcript is the central object. The timeline, if it even appears, is just an output. Real quick, if you've run into this exact problem, that gap between raw footage and finished deliverable eating your whole day, drop a comment telling us how long your average edit takes right now. We're tracking this across the channel because the numbers are all over the place, and we want to know what's actually typical for different workflows. The workflow has 4 steps. Each one hands off cleanly to the next, and together, they're what get you from raw footage to 3 finished deliverables in under 90 minutes. But the reason it works isn't speed for its own sake. It's that every step eliminates a specific category of mechanical work. Watch what that actually looks like. Transcript-based rough cut. We're using Descript for this. You upload your file, the AI transcribes it, and within about 3 minutes for a 45-minute file, you have a fully editable transcript synced to the video, word for word. Now here's what makes this powerful. You edit the text, and the video edits itself. You highlight a sentence and delete it. That clip is gone. You want to reorder a section, you cut and paste text. Video follows. We took our 45-minute interview down to a rough 22 minutes and about 15 minutes of editing. That's the rough cut phase done. On a traditional timeline, that same pass would take us 45 minutes minimum, usually closer to an hour and a half because you're scrubbing through footage to find the good sections instead of reading them. 15 minutes versus 90 minutes. That's the first hour saved right there. One edge case to flag. If your audio has heavy background noise, the transcript accuracy drops and the workflow breaks down at this step. We had one file with fan noise in the room. Accuracy dropped to about 88%. Usable, but you'll spend time correcting the transcript before you can trust it as an edit layer. Clean audio is a hard requirement for this workflow to run at full speed. That's the structural cut done. The rough cut still has dead weight in it. Every hesitation, every filler, every pause the speaker used to gather their thoughts. That's what the next step handles, and it's where the time math gets almost hard to believe. Automated silence and filler removal. This is where Descript earns its price for a lot of people. There's a one-click tool called Remove Filler Words. It finds every omude, and extended pause in the transcript and flags them. You review, hit remove, and they're gone from both the transcript and the video simultaneously. On our 45-minute interview, it flagged 237 filler words. We removed all of them in under 2 minutes. Now, the tool does not always get this right. It occasionally flags intentional pauses, places where the speaker was actually thinking out loud, and the pause was part of the communication. We found about 12 of the 237 flags were ones we'd want to keep. So the review pass matters. But even accounting for that, you're still saving enormous time compared to finding and cutting these manually. 2 steps in, 22 minutes down to a tighter cut. Every filler gone, and we haven't touched a single timeline handle. But here's the part that took us the longest to trust. Step 3 is where the workflow gets genuinely interesting, and also where we had the most debate internally about whether to recommend it. This is AI scene selection. We used Opus Clip for this step. You feed Opus Clip your already trimmed file from Descript, and it analyzes the video for what it calls high hook moments. It scores every segment on a scale of 1 to 100 for virality potential, based on patterns it's learned from millions of short-form clips. Here's our actual result. We needed a 90-second social clip from that 22-minute rough cut. Opus Clip generated 11 clip options, scored and ranked. The top scored clip was genuinely the best moment in the interview. We would have chosen it ourselves. The second and third highest scored clips were solid. Below that, the quality dropped fast. Clips 7 through 11 were either context-dependent moments that wouldn't land without the full interview, or they were just tonally off. So think of Opus Clip as a shortlist tool, not a final cut tool. It finds the top 3 for you, you still make the call. If this workflow is already saving your time, here's the deal. We review AI tools on real workflows every single week, no paid placements. If a tool isn't good enough, we say so. That's what this channel is. Subscribe and you'll get the next breakdown the day it drops. The last step is the one most workflow guides skip entirely, and honestly, it's where more time disappears in real projects than people realize. Platform export and reformat. We had 3 deliverables. The 10-minute YouTube cut was basically done after steps 1 and 2. The 90-second social clip was done after step 3. The 5-minute highlights reel for the client presentation was the last piece, and this is where the reformat layer earns its place. Descript handles this natively. You set up separate export sequences from the same project file. Different aspect ratios, different caption styles, different resolution targets. The social clip gets reformatted from 16:9 to 9:16 automatically. Captions are generated and timed from the same transcript, so there's no second pass for that. No exporting to a caption tool, no resyncing, no separate subtitle file. It all comes from the one source of truth you built in step 1. Total export time for all 3 deliverables. 11 minutes of rendering, 3 minutes of setup. 14 minutes total to ship 3 finished files. Here's the number that closes this out. We tracked the same project done the traditional way 6 months ago before we switched. Same editor, same type of raw footage, same 3 deliverables. That project took 6 hours and 40 minutes of active editing time. The AI workflow took 1 hour and 22 minutes. Same output quality, verified by the client. That is not a demo number. That's our actual logged time. 4 steps, 1 hour and 22 minutes. And the mechanical work, every drag, every trim, every reformat was handled by the AI. The hour we spent was on judgment calls. That's the whole point. The timeline didn't disappear because we found a shortcut. It disappeared because the transcript became the edit. That's the mechanism the title promised. That's what actually happened. Now let's put this workflow against the 2 tools most editors are already using, because that's the real decision most of you are facing. You're not choosing between AI and nothing. You're choosing between AI and what you already have. DaVinci Resolve has added strong AI features over the past 2 years. Its Magic Mask, Speed Warp, and the DaVinci AI Cut tool are genuinely impressive. But here's the thing. Those tools still live inside a timeline. You're still doing the rough cut manually. The AI in DaVinci is saving you time on color, on motion, on finishing work. It is not saving you time on the structural edit. That's the distinction. If most of your edit time is in finishing and color, DaVinci's AI suite is probably a better fit than what we're describing today. Adobe Premiere's AI tools, specifically the text-based editing feature and the auto reframe tool, are the closest direct competitors to the Descript workflow. And they're genuinely good. The text-based editing in Premiere works similarly to Descript. The main difference is that Premiere's interface is still timeline primary. You're editing text, but you're always aware of the timeline underneath it. It adds cognitive load. Descript hides the timeline until you need it. For editors who are already deep in the Adobe ecosystem, Premiere's AI tools are worth using. But if you're starting fresh or you primarily deliver for social, Descript plus Opus Clip is faster. Here's a question we want to bring back to you before we wrap the comparison. Which of these 2 situations matches yours right now? Are you editing long-form content like interviews, courses, or podcasts? Or are you primarily cutting short-form content for social? Drop it in the comments. It changes which tool we'd point you toward, and we want to give more specific guidance in the follow-up video. So here's our actual verdict, broken down by who this is for. If you're a freelance video editor doing interview-based content, corporate videos, or documentary work, the Descript plus Opus Clip workflow is worth switching to immediately. The time savings on a single project will cover the subscription cost. Descript runs about $24 a month on the creator plan. Opus Clip runs about $15 a month on the starter tier. Under $40 a month for tooling that saves you 5+ hours per project is not a hard math problem. If you're an in-house editor at a company that's already locked into Adobe Creative Cloud, we'd hold off on switching entirely. Use Premiere's text-based editing and auto-reframe tools first. They're already in your subscription. They won't give you the same speed gains as the full AI workflow, but they'll get you partway there without adding a new tool to the stack. If you're a solo creator doing YouTube primarily and your raw footage is under 20 minutes, the full 4-step workflow might actually be overkill. Descript alone handles everything you need. Opus Clip is designed for long-form to short-form repurposing. If you're not repurposing, you don't need it. One tool, not two. One thing we want to be direct about. This workflow does not replace editorial judgment. The AI does not know your client. It does not know the story you're trying to tell. It does not know which moment was emotionally important to the speaker, even if it was quiet. What it does is eliminate the mechanical work so that your judgment time is spent on actual creative decisions. That's the honest version of the pitch. We're going deep on the one AI feature inside Descript that most people overlook entirely, the Underlord AI actions. It can write show notes, generate chapter markers, and create a social caption draft, all from the same transcript, in under 30 seconds. That breakdown is already up, linked in the description. And if there's a specific tool you want us to test on a real project, not a demo, drop it below. That's how our video queue actually gets built.